So I had this idea yesterday, and I just thought that it would be very interesting for me to make it into a video. So one of the most profound and impactful world leaders in modern day history, Lee Kuan Yew, built Singapore when it was a complete shithole and turned it into one of the strongest first world country to where it is right now in well under just one generation. So I'm Singaporean, and I'll be showing you the same principles, same strategies, same values and principles that he used to build Singapore, and I'll be applying it to my own life and business. Right, so maybe some of you Gen Zs, or if you're a foreigner, you don't know who this man is or the history of Singapore. This is just a quick introduction on who Lee Kuan Yew is. He's the first Prime Minister of Singapore when it was founded in 1965, and this man, he built Singapore from scratch when Malaysia decided to throw us out of their own nation. Singapore is a very young country, gained independence in just 1965, which is funny because this year, 2025, Singapore will just be 60 years old, which is really, really fucking crazy if you think about on how strong this country is. And to simply say it, he turned this country to where it is right now, one of the most strongest countries in the world, as what I mentioned just now. And so what's more important to mention is, what did he do, Like, why did I decide to make a whole ass video about this man? Firstly, these are real life's image on the comparison of Singapore. Right here on this image is Singapore before it gained independence, probably before the 1965s. A complete shithole, right? It's just like I said, this country had no resources. It wasn't even a country, it was part of Malaysia. No water resources, no military, no food resources, no education, and this is what Singapore is as we know. And so these are just some things that he did that just came out to my mind. I'm sure there are way more many things he did. So the first one is that he turned chaos into order. He had zero, I'm pretty sure LKY is one of the very few world leaders who did not tolerate any corruption. Which is why, I don't follow any Singaporean politics, frankly, because you don't really have to. You don't really have to worry about any politics and all that, because there's no corruption in this country. And that brings to crime rates went low, right? Around this time, this image, before Singapore gained independence, before Lee Kuan Yew came to power, crimes were very high. There were racial riots, there were people in gangs, secret societies, a lot of locals, a lot of people were just addicted to opium that probably came from China. And so when Lee Kuan Yew came about, this man was very relentless, and crime rates went down very low. And he forced everyone to live together, because back then it was separated between the Malays, the Chinese and the Indians, and he just forced everyone to live together. Clean streets, because you know that Singapore is one of the cleanest countries in the world. He banned selling chewing gums here, and if you were to sell drugs here, that's an immediate life sentence. So this man, his policy was definitely very relentless. And a huge thing was that he is an economic genius, right? Lee Kuan Yew, he built the second world's busiest trading port in the world. And this is why if you're to go to any Singapore's beach, right? Go to the most iconic beaches like Sentosa, East Coast, or maybe even Changi Beach. You look at the horizon, and what do you mostly see? Just cargo ships. And sometimes I heard some people would complain about this and say that, it doesn't really look that aesthetic, it looks kind of dirty, which they're not wrong, but at the same time, it's for a very good reason. Because Singapore's trading port is the second busiest one in the whole entire world. The first one being, of course, Shanghai, China, because everything is manufactured by China. And the second bullet point is that LKY turned Singapore into a critical trade, finance, and tech hub. When it comes to business and for foreign investors, Singapore is the main go-to place. Not many people actually know that. A lot of the richest people in the whole entire world, like billionaires in this world, actually have their main trading bank accounts in Singapore. It's either Singapore or Switzerland. And that just comes to show that why that's possible is because the banking system in Singapore, he didn't tolerate any corruption. The third thing was that he invited multinational companies in around 1965, right, when Singapore was in the development stage. Zero resources, zero fresh water, no food, no people coming in here, right? And so he did a very smart thing to actually invite multinational companies to invest in Singapore. This is actually one of the reasons why the Singapore's government actually still right now invest in so much money on our airport, our Changi airport, because we still know that when visitors, when foreigners come to Singapore, well, the first thing they see is what? Is the airport. And of course, when people come here, the first thing they will see is the jewel, right? The jewel fountain. And the last genius move that he made was he made English the main language in Singapore. Because you go anywhere in Southeast Asia, Singapore is the only country that everyone is capable of speaking English. And this is actually like a huge thing, by the way, because I'm Malay Singaporean, and sometimes that people be telling me about how like, oh, like you're a full-blooded Malay Singaporean, but you have barely any Singaporean accent. And I said, yeah, true. So like, to give some backstory was that so when I was younger, I used to have like a very bad stuttering issue, and so I just had to like change something about myself. But the second reason, which is actually way more relatable to this whole thing, to what Lee Kuan Yew said, and he said that speaking Singlish, he knew that there was something that will hold Singaporeans back. And he basically emphasized on everyone to speak good English, to be fluent in the English language. So if you were to hear Lee Kuan Yew's speeches or any of his speeches, press conference, he would always speak in good, perfect English. And he emphasized on the people of Singaporean to replicate it. And so with all of these things that he did, all done within just one generation, it took him to be doing all of this, maybe 30 to 40 years, which is very, very impressive. And this is why I'm even making this video, because I admire the fuck of what this man did. Not many world leaders managed to actually pull what he actually did. And going to the next more important thing, that it's more mainly what this video is about, is Lee Kuan Yew's value and principles that I resonate with. The first one is, well, it's independence, right? When Malaysia kicked Singapore out, Malaysia thought that Singapore was gonna go to its knees and beg to Malaysia to please come back, please take us back. But Lee Kuan Yew, he had other things to say. And this is what he said: we'll survive, we'll grow, and we'll show them all. Fucking badass motherfucker, man. And I resonate with this a lot, because it's the no one will save you mindset. Because Lee Kuan Yew know that he couldn't rely on anyone else except for himself and the people of Singapore. I resonate with this so much because this is basically how my life is. And if you want to create a good life for yourself and not be an NPC, not be a normie, you need to have independence. You need to have this same sort of survival type mentality. Take full accountability of yourself and know that no one will save you except for yourselves, right? This man had that exact same vision that I also have when it comes to my own life. So having your back against the wall, being in survival mode, he knew that is what it takes to actually build your own future, your own vision to life. And so that brings me to the next thing, that man, LKY, he's incredibly passionate and obsessed with excellence. He wanted Singapore to be world-class people, right? And this is also a quote that he said, that if we do something, we must be the best at it. I resonate with this in the same thing, especially when it comes to business, that when I want to make it out of life, if I want to be extraordinary, I have to be the best in my industry. And if something doesn't work, I'm just gonna have to restart it and sharpen it back. And especially when it comes to Lee Kuan Yew, he didn't really care about any policy, any political ideology. He just cared about what was working. And also holding yourself to a standard that most people think that you're crazy. When Singapore was in the development, a lot of people actually questioned Lee Kuan Yew. People thought that he was controversial. Other world leaders think that this guy is crazy. But that is what it takes. That is what it takes. Sacrifice, doing whatever it takes to win. This man, he did not care. He just wanted to be great. He wanted to be excellent. And that also brings me to the next thing of, when it comes to obsession with excellence, you also have to be ruthless. You gotta have balls in this game. Watch any documentaries, listen to any of his speeches, watch his press conferences. This man had unshakable confidence, but without arrogance, because a lot of his words was backed up by work and execution. This is one of my favorite quotes from him, and he said that whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him. Bro, that man had aura, right? This is a really, really strong quote, and I resonate. Same thing, I guess, with everything, right? I agree with this, man. You need to have balls. That is what it takes to win. That is ruthlessness in ambition. Because to me, one formula for success are two things, and that is heart and balls. Your heart must be on fire, and your balls must be made out of steel. And well, just to say the least, Lee Kuan Yew is the embodiment of that. And going to the last but not least, how do I apply it to my life, right? How can I, or you watching this, right, apply all of these things that I talk about, the principles, the things that he do, apply it to your own life? Because I am copying the principles and mindset that made Singapore successful. The first thing is adapt or die, right? Same thing on what I said about the survival mentality, the no one will save you mindset. You have to adapt or die. Understand that there's always another angle to attack. A good example of that is how I'm right now. I'm in the military, and that is actually, which is okay, it's quite ironic because I'm in the Singapore's national service and I don't like it, right? Which is fucking ironic because I'm making this video. But it's slowing me down when it comes to my own personal growth and when it comes to my own business. Right? I want to make money, but I make zero excuses. Sure, it is something that's slowing me down. I'm in a rut, but I take full accountability of everything. I could just sit there and then I could just say, oh, you know what? Oh, it's okay, because of this, because of that. I don't really have the time and the energy to be doing all that. Oh, you know, I'm just gonna wait till the 2 years finish. No, fuck that. I am gonna find a different angle to attack from, right? There's always another way for me to climb out of the trenches. So I make zero excuses and I take full accountability, just like how Lee Kuan Yew did when he was building Singapore. And commitment to excellence, right? Yes, I said, if I want to be the best in what I do, I need to always refine my product. Let my ego aside and actually ask myself, is this something good? If I were to show this to someone, will they be impressed by it? Will they be wanting to buy it, right? Am I better than my competitors? Will people choose me over others? I'm asking myself these questions every time. That is what it takes for you to be great. It's the commitment to excellence. And the last thing is yes, I said, balls. You need to have balls. You need to be... Here's the thing, right? Intelligence doesn't really apply when you just want to get your feet into the door. Sure, when you want to be building a whole ass empire, be a billionaire, then of course you got to be like, your IQ must be like 160 plus. But if you just want to make it out of life, have your own freedom, have your own independence, you know, probably be like 6 to 7 figures, your balls must be there before the mind is. If that makes sense. So yeah, taking risks. I am willing to sacrifice a lot. My health, as you can see, like, I am fucking scrawny and skinny right now. That is something that I need to get back. Alright, but I have been neglecting my health, my youth, and some of the relationships that I was in, right? That being with women, with my friends from college, from my school. I need to be sacrificing all this to win, you know? I need to be telling my girl, you know, I'm sorry, babe, you know, but the mission comes first, you know? The heroic mission comes first. So choosing independence over slavery, right? Lee Kuan Yew wanted to build Singapore from the ground up. He didn't want he didn't want Singapore to be on its knees and beg to Malaysia, please take us back, please. No. Independence over slavery. So with that being said, when I actually learned about all this, about Lee Kuan Yew, I actually realized that, man, I am the truest Singaporean, right? I just want to throw it in. I am actually the truest of the truest Singaporean. No one is as Singaporean as how I am, man. Because why? Because I resonate and I am applying all the principles, okay, not all, but a lot of the principles that Lee Kuan Yew had to make Singapore successful. I'm the embodiment of the Singapore spirit.